I'm in Denpasar again, and I alluded to it a couple of days ago, or a few days ago, I think it might have been, that my dad's a little bit sort of, well, he needs my help. He's in decline, he's 82 now, and I thought I really need to talk about that, because I think as time goes by, this issue in my life is going to sort of pop up more and more. But I think it also has a lot of relevance to a lot of people who have lived away from family. Even if it's just a couple of hours away, that distance can really be a problem when you've got your own life to live. And how we deal with elderly parents or other family members who are going through problems that, you know, they need your help and you can't always be there. So let's talk about that today while I'm in Denpasar here. We're at Jinnah Coffee, which is, as you know, one of the places that I love here in Denpasar. Love this place. Hello. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'll get a hot cappuccino.
Hot cappuccino, we have two sizes, regular one.
I'll have the real big one.
Big one, okay.
Ada donut? Donut ada?
Donut ada.
Yeah, satu.
Regular one or big one?
Big one.
Okay.
Big one for big man.
Big one for big breakfast.
I always seem to end up at the same table here at Jinnah Coffee. I just really love it. If you haven't seen it before, it's like that. But I'm sure you've seen it, because if you've been watching my videos, I've come here a few times. I just really love it. I'm here on a busier day. It's not always busy, but I'm here on a Sunday. And this is one of those places, because it's a non-crom spot, it really sort of fires up when people aren't working. So whether it's weekends, public holidays, days off, or even at times of day, like at night, when people aren't working. So that's the sort of place it is. And I really like that vibe of the place. And it's a little bit, got a bit of a buzz to it. I generally don't like busy places. I like my peace. But this place is a little bit different, because the buzz of the place is not a chaos or a negative chaos. There's a real energy here, which I really love. So I got myself a big donut and a big coffee for $52,800. At this place, when you order at the counter, they don't know where you're going to sit. So they don't ask you or anything like that. They don't give you a number. And this place is pretty big, so they've got to figure out where you are. And I just wonder, with most of the people here, how they would identify who it is that purchased something, maybe by the colour of the shirt or whatever. But for me, what do you think they're going to put in the slip that identifies who I am and who the order goes to? There's a donut. It's hot. A bit of ice and sugar on there. Probably a bit too much for me. I don't know what that is. A big scoop of it in the middle. Probably get a bit of ice and sugar on there. So here it is. A bit of ice and sugar on there. And I probably won't eat all that ice and sugar. And let's check it out. It's a hot one. Really, actually too hot. Breeze it in. Yeah, nice. I find that in Indonesia, a lot of the style of bread and donuts and stuff, but a lot of the more, not modern places, but the ones that are a bit more popular, is to slightly undercooked dough. I don't know what it is. It's been going on for a long time. I remember in Bandung, it was a place that everyone loved, and it was just a shop that they did undercooked bread. I didn't like it, but I don't know. I actually like this donut. I'm a big donut fan. This is a good one, even though it's slightly undercooked. I like that. Well, that is a good looking coffee. That's a big one. They've given me an unmatched saucer, and you can see if I try and center that, I mean, it's just a, it's a bit of a, I mean, I'm being picky, but I would like to center that cup on the saucer, and it can't, because the handle then hits the saucer. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get stuck into the coffee. I love that coffee. That is a very good coffee. You have to come here. You're going to love the coffee too. If you like your coffee, you'll love this place. Even if you don't like coffee and you get, I don't know, a chocolate milk or something. I don't even know if they sell chocolate milk, but if you get something else, you're going to love it too. I really love the vibe here. Love the coffee. Excellent. So getting back to this issue about relatives, and the more I've thought about this whole issue, it's not really about that I'm in Bali and my dad's in Australia. That's not the real issue here, because this problem can occur even when you're living much closer to a loved one, when they're just a little bit too far for you to go and visit, like at the drop of a hat. You've got to make a big trip out of it. It can be just a couple of hours away and it can be problematic. But when you hear in Bali, it sometimes feels that you're totally divorced, and I don't know. I mean, it is easy for me to go back to Australia. I've been to Australia this year probably 5 times already, I think. Maybe even more. I've been a heap. Well, I've nipped back literally for 2 nights on occasion, just to take my dad to doctor's appointments. Now, he's capable, so he lives on his own, and he's capable of looking after himself like 75%. There are some things he can't do anymore, like for example, his garden, he can't look after his garden anymore, so he gets a gardener coming in, and the government does support some of these things. Like, he has to still pay, but there are government support services out there, but they're not very good. They don't cover, like for example, that he's been assessed that he's entitled to a cleaner, but there's some, I mean, the system's very complicated, and this is one of my battles, is trying to understand the system, is that he can't get a cleaner because there's not enough funding for one, even though he's been dedicated to say, yeah, you need a cleaner. So like, his house gets dirty, so when I go over there, I'll help clean it up, and I'm not the cleanest person either, so if Susan ever comes across with me, which is not every time, she'll do a heap of cleaning for my dad, which is really, really helpful. And it's not like his house is a pigsty, but you know, he's an 82-year-old guy. He's not going to keep it as clean as the average person might. He sort of needs help, like his memory's going, so he needs help being reminded about stuff. You know, he's constantly he goes to doctors all the time, so he's constantly reminded about eating properly and his medications and that sort of stuff. But it's tough because you're on a difficult path when you're getting into your 80s, and some of your ability to do things for yourself is declining. So that's where we're at the moment from me. So there's a few issues there. How do I deal with that from here? Well, a lot of the stuff that I've got to help him with is actually admin. There's a lot of admin. So like things like paying bills and stuff, a lot of that I've already automated for him. Helping him with his finances, I'm on top of most of that sort of stuff. Liaising with the healthcare people, I can do over the phone quite often. Trying to figure out how this My Aged Care system works, which is, right, it's a terrible system, horrifically convoluted and complicated, and trying to understand that. As someone who's fully functional is very difficult. For an older person who's not fully with it, impossible. So a lot of that stuff I do as well, trying to figure out how that aged care stuff works. It's a nightmare. It's actually one of the biggest time sucks is ringing around people trying to get stuff done for it. What a nightmare. The other thing is, I think that if I lived, say, 5 hours away, let's say I lived by car 5 hours, I was living in, down the south coast of New South Wales, and where he lives is a couple of hours from Sydney, I reckon I would rarely see him as well. I think it would be very difficult to see him as well. Being here in Bali doesn't make it any more difficult. It's because we don't live together that it's quite difficult to be there all the time. I have a brother who lives in Sydney, but he's at least 2 hours away when the traffic's good. He's got a family and he's got a job, a full-time job. He can't always be there. So I feel like I've got to do a few more things that he might not be able to do, or a bit more difficult for him to do. That's difficult as well, because some people might look at that and say, oh, your brother should do more, but it's not that simple as well, you know. It's not as easy as one person needs to do more than the other person. You do what you can based on your personal circumstances and that sort of stuff. And the thing about it is, because I'm going through this myself, I get a feel for how other families deal with this as well. They've probably got exactly the same issues and the same tensions and the same feelings of guilt as well. Like, I feel guilty that I can't be there with him all the time, but I can't. Well, I could. I mean, I could just up my whole life that I've had here in Indonesia for 15 years and move to his area and sit around there. I could do that. But I don't think that's reasonable either, and he wouldn't expect me to do that. I think these sorts of things sometimes come up as well when you've got, if you live somewhere like Bali and you've got sick friends or family members of close friends as well that you've known who have passed away, and you're not able to attend their funerals, and you've missed weddings and big occasions and that sort of thing. You do miss out on a lot of that stuff, and that's just one of the drawbacks of living overseas, is that you can't be there for everyone when that's what your heart feels. You feel like you want to be there. You know, I've had so many friends, very close friends of mine, whose parents have passed away, who I grew up with and knew very well, and I didn't go to their funerals, and that's very sad. It's reality of living far away. You can't just jump on a plane every time something goes wrong. The other thing about people's decline in old age is that often, not always, often it's a slow decline, and you will notice things from time to time which are a little bit different now to what they used to be. People's memory, the way they behave, the way they do things, what they're not able to do anymore. And when there's small things, it's not a big deal. You get away with it. You put it off. You ignore it. But as time goes on, those things build up, and there's at some point you've got to start doing things, but you don't always do it straight away. And that's part of the difficulty of this process, is that when someone goes through a slow decline, you know, how do you handle it on a sort of day-by-day basis? Most of the time you just ignore it. Like, you just go, well, he'll be okay, until he's not. That's the problem I've got, is that, yeah, at some point you've got to make a decision like, hey, this can't go on like this anymore. That's what I'm sort of struggling with, you know? Because, you know, if someone goes off the cliff, it's pretty easy. But when they don't, that becomes a little bit more complicated. There are obviously some viewers of the channel who are probably in my dad's position. May have moved overseas and maybe getting older themselves and feeling themselves not being as capable as they used to be. And now some of those questions about how you cope as the person that needs caring for as the years go by, I think that's pretty scary. That's something I think about a little bit, because I don't have kids. What happens when you get to that sort of age yourself and you've got no one advocating for you? It's not just about care, because you can purchase care. I mean, it's not really care, but you can purchase someone to make sure you get fed. But you can't purchase that advocacy. That's quite important. You know, making sure you're well looked after, that managerial stuff, which is what I'm mainly doing for my dad at the moment. That advocacy is really important. And having a trustworthy person around you to advocate for you is really important. I think that's something I'll be thinking about as the years go by, is who's going to advocate for Susan and I as the years go by. Have we got relatives that would be able to do it for us, would be willing to do it for us? Is there some other way you can get around that? But I reckon it's such a really interesting issue, this whole thing. I know a lot of people think about it. People talk about, oh yeah, I've got family, and when they're talking about family, they're often not talking about grandkids. They're actually talking about an elderly parent who they're worried about, who's 95, and they don't really know how to handle that situation. Well, that's what I'm dealing with. So, similar things that we're all going through. But how do you handle it? How do you feel about it? I guess it depends on what you feel in terms of obligation. You know, some people feel very obliged to do everything for their parents. Some people feel less obliged and are willing to sort of bring in help as required. Yeah, navigating is pretty difficult. I'd love to hear people's views on this, not just about elderly parents, but also other family issues, that if you're far away from family members, how that really impacts on you. Hello. You're an interesting colour. Oh, don't follow me. All right, let's get walking. I'll spend all day there just hanging out and, you know, just listening to other people talk and people come and go, the busyness of the place. But we need to move. Otherwise, we'll get nothing done today. It's the morning today, and it's really overcast, and I'm loving it. It's quite cool because of it. And we've just had such great weather for the past month, barely a drop of rain, and almost not a day like this for maybe 2 months that's been this overcast, or at least a month. And it just feels nice to change up the weather a little bit today. Any trip to the centre of Denpasar, starting at that cafe, is a good trip to Denpasar in my view, because from here you can really walk to a lot of places. It's quite central. There's a park down one direction. There are, you know, the Fabric Street. There is the old heritage area in another area. And there are just roads like this as well, just totally normal roads which are pleasant to walk along. That place is really busy, that coffee shop across there. I don't even know what it is. Oh, Tan Panama Coffee. I think that's one of those chains, a local chain. That's odd. I'm surprised that one's so busy. What's that? pisang goreng, kremes. Oh, kremes is this style of batter, that really bitty batter. You get it on like ayam goreng as well. This is obviously the pisang goreng in that style. Very popular as well. Yum. If I hadn't just had my coffee and donut, I'd probably get a bag of those. Not sure how that will go with my stomach, but I'm actually getting over my bout of Bali belly, but I'm not 100%. I'm about, I don't know, 85% I reckon now. But I've just got to be a bit careful because I do tend to go for the most harsh things like a pisang goreng or a pizza or something like that. I'm going to nick down this street, Jalan Gatot Kaca. This is a good name. And if you don't know who Gatot Kaca is, a character from the Mahabharata. And the Mahabharata is the, well, it's an Indian Hindu epic. But Gatot Kaca as a character is really important in Balinese and Javanese history and culture. I think in the actual, from what I understand, in the actual Mahabharata story, he's not that main a figure, but in Indonesia, Java and Bali, he's a really strong figure. A person who has bones made out of steel or something like that, and is able to fly without wings. And there's a whole sort of epic about that, and self-sacrifice, and you know, that is a character that's revered as a hero here in Indonesia, particularly Java and Bali. When you start getting into some of that history though, you start to realise how closely linked Java and Bali are, and how closely linked their histories are, and how closely linked their cultures are. Because if you go below the surface just a little bit, like they're almost identical. Well, that's cool. A couple of little Volkswagens there. Old Land Cruiser. Nice vehicles. Yeah, getting back to the story. You know, we often hear criticisms about the Javanese. But culturally, the Javanese and the Balinese are very, very similar. Very similar. There is a religious overlay on both sides, but deep down, they are the same people. And just 500 years ago, they were, like the people who populated Bali were the Javanese Hindus, and then Islam came through and obviously changed the religion in Java, but not in Bali. That's interesting. The next road I'll get to is Jalan Arjuna. So this is all about that whole story. Arjuna is obviously a very important character in that whole story as well. In relation to Gatot Kaca. The reason I often talk about this whole thing about the Javanese being not that different to the Balinese is because I hear a lot of racism when I'm in Bali about the Javanese, like really negative stuff, and well, it's just a load of rubbish. Well, an absolute load of rubbish. Hello. Yeah. And well, here we go. We'll get back to that. There's a place called Maludong here. This is the signs that you see sometimes around Sanur. You'll see Maludong, and they have their own little space. Well, let's have a quick look. Oh, it's closed. Maludong buang sampah sembarangan. So it's embarrassing to discard your rubbish all around the place. That's where the campaign starts. That's like Keep Australia Beautiful or whatever. It's pretty cool. We should support those guys. Yeah, the thing about this racism thing is that if you look at all the different sort of tribes and suku here in Indonesia about who's closest to who and who's most like one another, and like some of the closest ones are the Balinese and the Javanese. Like they are really close to one another because of their shared history. But if you went to the Bataks are totally different to the Javanese. So to hear some of this negativity, I really don't like it. I don't think it's fair. And of course, there's always tensions between ethnic groups, but it's not great. What I would say is that generally, most Indonesians are really nice people. Like really nice people. So that's the story. I think just pigeonholing people and saying this person's bad because of their race is just not a really helpful thing to do. Oh, well, nice murals over there. Seems to be some sort of market over here. Let's go and have a look. The other thing is when people talk about the Javanese, they don't even know what they're talking about. People say the word the Javanese and they think it's everyone from Java, but like Java is full of different racial groups or ethnic groups as well. But the Javanese are only part of it. There's heaps of them over there. Like there's over 30 million Sundanese. Yeah. They're from Java, but they're not Javanese. They don't speak Javanese language. The language is completely different to Javanese. There are different dance traditions, different histories, different arts and cultures. Yeah. All right, what do we got? Oh, this is just some sort of outdoor market area over here. Not really much to it. Oh, nice flowers though. Really nice flowers, beautiful. Nice banyan tree as well. I might just go across here because I can see something going on behind the scenes here that I think looks interesting. But I do not want to get run over. No, thanks. If you want to buy a knife, a good knife lady here. Oh, it's all this sort of stuff. Oh, it's quite atmospheric down here. Yeah. That's one of the classic ones on these videos. People go, yes, yes. Oh, that's beetle nut. Nice. Hello. Kalau satu berapa? Satu yang ini 5.000. Satu. Tapi harus diajarin ya, Bu. Untuk makan ya ini. Yang ini? Ya. Alright, apparently this one's supposed to be done at home, but they're going to make it for me. Look at all that. I don't know what that is. All those little ingredients in there. It's like a beetle nut type thing. Bu, ini
buahnya, Chen.
Gede. It's too big, that one. Just give me a little slice. Okay. Okay, Bu. Masukin aja ya, dan wow, oh, that is awful. Pahit.
Iya, memang nih sirih nih namanya.
Aduh. Oh.
Sirih.
Kalau mau meludah di mana? Mau meludah?
Boleh.
Oh. Hampir mau muntah. Oh, make my mouth go numb as well.
Hey, nang udian beli?
Hah?
Nang udian tuh? Hah? Nang udian yang video?
Woo! Yeah.
Ya.
Oh, they give me a bag that's pretty. Oh,
Beli air di depan sana.
that is horrid. It's got this real numbing effect all through my mouth.
Oh, di mana?
My mouth is full of like leaf. They're saying I need to go and wash my mouth out because if you don't, you might get a headache. I don't know what I don't even know what I've just had there. I can't even talk anymore. Hello. What is your name?
Oh, my name is Lesa.
Hello. How are you? Bahasa Inggrisnya, okay?
Oke.
Ya, nggak enak. Pahit yang itu.
Pagi-pagi beli tipat sate.
Ya. Oke.
Di mana tinggal di sini?
Di Sanur.
Di Sanur.
Ya, Ibu tinggal di mana?
Sini Jalan Kaya nih.
Ya, karena
Pintar sekali bahasa Indonesianya.
no, enggak.
Udah lama di sini.
Ya, udah 15 tahun.
Weh, aduh.
Ya, tapi dulu aku tinggal di Jawa Barat, di Bandung.
Di Bandung.
Ya, istri saya cewek Bandung.
Oh, gitu.
Ya.
Sekarang di mana istrinya?
Di dia lagi boxing.
Oh, gitu.
Pukul sama temannya.
Oh, gitu.
Ya, untuk olahraga.
Oh, iya.
Ya.
Ya.
Oke, Bu. Ya, mari. Ya, bye-bye. All right. Oh, that's cool. Little temple down there. Look at that. That's really cool down there. I love this little area. Very atmospheric. Another temple across the river. Nice area. I feel that it's very atmospheric because is that some sort of stimulant that I've just had there? Like I feel like I've got like 10 times more energy now. I don't know what I just had. But what is that? Still got bits in my mouth. It's not betel nut because, well, it could be. People who know more about betel nut can probably tell me. Well, I think I've had betel nut before, and it wasn't very strong. Like it was, I'd make your mouth numb and go red and stuff, but I can't remember it being that offensive. Like that was one of the most offensive things I've ever had in my mouth. One of them, not the most offensive, I've had a lot of other things in there. Oh God, I can't say that, can I? I've got a bit of a sweat up now. Would really love to know what that is. I reckon you could probably make a fortune selling that stuff down at the beach in Sun or to tourists. Hey, try my new sort of Balinese little potion here. It'll make you feel good. Oh, isn't that cute? Hello. Hey, come on. You're cute. Hey, it's okay. Have a sniff. It's okay. It's okay. Don't be scared. It's okay. It's okay. I feel like I've walked around here before. Oh, look at that. Little food you can get in the window there. Beautiful. A bit of chicken, a bit of grated coconut, a few beans. Just thinking about that, how we criticise people from different ethnic groups. We do it all over the world. I mean, this is not an Indonesian thing. Sometimes when we let our guard down and we allow ourselves to sort of stereotype people, you know, we can basically get a little bit, you know, a bit racist. And we all do it because I think it's quite natural for humans to be very tribal, to sort of love your own tribe and try and, denigrate other tribes. I think that's quite normal. But I've noticed also in recent times, it's actually become a little bit more socially acceptable to do that, which I don't like, because I think that's a little bit, well, it's rude, but it's not nice to the person that's being denigrated, is it? And so I try and keep my, my urges to myself when it comes to that sort of stuff, because I mean, we all do have some of these things come up from time to time. I just don't, I've just noticed that, especially on social media, people of all sides of politics have been sort of coming up with these tropes and so forth about different groups of people, which is just not nice. It's just a bit rude, you know? And I think in this world we could do with being a little bit more polite to one another. Hello. Hello. Someone obviously going to a ceremony. I got a little bit of an idea of where I am now. I'm just near that heritage street, Gajah Mada they call it. And then I know that I've been up here as well. There's that Cineplex place where there's a cinema hidden on the top floor of that traditional market. That was weird, wasn't it? If you haven't seen that, go back through my videos. I don't even know what the title of that thing was called, but that was interesting. That's pretty cool. There's a sign over there. It's got Lowongan Kerja. You'll see that all around Indonesia. You'll see it online in social media sometimes, and sometimes it'll be shortened to locker. Yeah. Basically, it's a job vacancy, and they're all over the place. And in Indonesia, you're sort of allowed to discriminate based on like race, age, whether you're married or not, whether you've got kids, whether you're pregnant, and like you can just do anything you want. Well, I don't know if that's like formally allowed, but that's what happens, and people seem to get away with it. This is a place that you'll almost miss if you're just walking past. Very interesting look. Bookstore. Is it open? Seems to be. Hello. Ooh, dark and moody. Nice machine. Wah, mau kopi ya? Ada apa?
Ada beberapa signature.
Yeah. I just said I'd have a hot cappuccino, and the guy says, "Do you want hot?" I said, "Yeah, I'll have a hot cappuccino." Hope it doesn't come super hot. Well, this place looks to have really good style. Look at that. Nice stereo there with some tapes. They've got an upstairs area. I wonder what it's going to look like. I have high hopes, because a lot of these places in Denpasar seem to be very well styled. Oh, nice. That's a good style, isn't it? Beautiful. What a beautiful styling that is. They've even done these, what do they call those? Those things as a table, which is cool. Nice. Well done. Oh, they've got a third floor? I wonder if I'm allowed to go up there. It says there, you can't eat up there, it's just a mashallah. It's interesting, the password here is green is hijau. In English, we'd say hijau is green, wouldn't we? That's another thing you probably should learn if you're going to learn the language a little bit. Try and just learn all the colours. Like the colours are pretty easy to learn. Coffee costs 33,600. Let's give it a go. A couple other people came in just after I got here, so it's starting to get a little bit busier as the car just pulled up as well. Mantap. That's a very good coffee. Very, very good coffee. I need it too to wash out all those leaves out of my mouth. Still a little bit numb around the lips and on my tongue. It was a shocker that, whatever that was that I ate. Coffee's good though. One of the questions I've been thinking about recently when we talk about family and would I ever go back to live in Australia to look after my dad? And like that would be not high on my wish list, but it could happen. It would be very unlikely because I think there are often these days other options. But gee, it's something that I would have to consider at some point, you know. But it's not just me either. There's Susan in this as well, and you know, she has her life as well that's separate from just being with me. She's Indonesian, lived in Indonesia her whole life, and I've been 15 years. So those things really weigh on my mind, and that would be difficult for me to leave Indonesia and go like move to Australia. I don't even know how I'd do that. I mean, I don't have a job or anything. I'd have no source of income. It'd almost be impossible to do. But it's something that has crossed my mind for sure. For sure, it's crossed my mind. But I just don't know how that would work out. But it's a worry for me. It's a worry, and I think I need to be very smart about the way I handle things as time goes on, because it could become quite problematic. Now, of course, I've talked with my dad about all this sort of stuff. This is not like I'm talking out of school here. He's fully aware of what's going on and some of this stuff, and he's probably worried about it too. You know? What happens when we get older? Yeah. Whatever the case, I've really enjoyed sort of exploring some of these issues today, getting some of that off my chest and opening up to you a little bit about what's going on in my life behind the scenes, behind the Sanua veneer, because I think that's important as well. It's real life. It's something that everyone has to deal with, or most people have to deal with when they're living in a different country. Whether you come here on a temporary basis or a full-time basis, or even just on holiday, sometimes you can have dramas where you need to get back home quickly. This is real life. You know, this is not some sort of fairy tale thing. Oh, I moved to Bali and everything's great. It's pretty good, but it's not all good. So this is a story which has a lot more chapters to go, and there's a lot more to sort of talk about on this particular issue, I think. So it'll be interesting to see how it develops. It'll be interesting to see if there are any parallels to your own stories. And I'd love to, like as I said earlier, I'd love to hear your own sorts of thoughts about this, because I know a lot of people think about this, and it's something which I think deserves a little bit of discussion and a bit of attention. So thanks anyway for sort of listening to me rant on about these family issues. Thanks for coming along for me on the ride here around Dempsey, which I absolutely love. Every time I come here I just have the greatest time. And thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button to keep up to date with all things Sanur and the rest of Indonesia. I'll catch you next time, and Sampai Jumpa.